Hello, everybody. Ron Callis with another episode of Automation Unplugged. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, May 22nd, about 12:30 p.m. Happy to be coming to you on time today. And let me go ahead and jump over to Facebook just to see if we are, in fact, live streaming into the page. As you all know, especially if you're regular viewers or listeners, we don't always luck out and have technology cooperate. So it's always best to check it out. Yeah, it looks like we're working. All right, this is good. All right, well, these are exciting times here at One Firefly. Well, personally, my son is actually only in school, I think, for another week. And then he gets off for the summer. So I'm imagining that many of you have summer breaks coming up and hopefully some nice summer vacations planned. Here at One Firefly, we're actually gearing up for some big product launch announcements this summer. So we've been gearing up. I was just telling Tom prior to going, getting queued up here that, I've been living two lives for a while. And that is running Firefly and business as usual by day, and then by night and weekends, at least in terms of my time, a lot of product dev work with the stuff we have cooking up. So all sorts of good stuff coming. Stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we have an awesome guest, and we have the one and only Tom Curnin from BravoAV. So let me go ahead and bring Tom on and let you guys meet him. And Tom is always full of ideas and opinions. And I'm pretty confident that you guys are going to love meeting Tom and learning about him. Tom, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. Thank you for that wonderful intro.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure. I know you're a busy man, and I know that we were trying to get you scheduled for some time, and we finally made it happen. So thanks for taking some time for us.
Well, I'm super excited to talk about outdoor audio video today because there's so much good stuff to talk about.
'Tis the season. Well, let's tell the audience, where are you coming to us from? What part of our great country are you in?
Bernardsville, New Jersey, the Garden State.
The Garden State. And so has winter officially broken in New Jersey?
Yeah. It's 65 degrees and sunny, and I'm going to go out for a nice 30-mile bike ride after work.
Oh, so I'm excited. Goodness.
Yeah.
You are fit. I remember over many CDs, you would stop by my booth or our booth, and you'd say, Ron, have you eaten? Do you need an energy bar? Do you need some healthy snacks? And how long have you lived that healthy lifestyle, by the way?
Since 2000. 2000. Okay. I got bit by a tick. I got Lyme disease, and I had to really change my whole lifestyle. So, yeah.
Got it. And since then, you've been running and biking and eating.
Yeah, well? Lifting and, trying to stay healthy, eat right, exercise, sleep well.
We are already, Tom, getting some folks saying hello here. We got Chris. He says, hey, Ron Callis Jr. Hey, Chris Gamble. And then let's see here. Somebody that you know, Tom, Mr. Jordan Littman.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Mr. Jordan, he says, looking forward to this interview. Hope you guys are doing well this afternoon. Jordan, I'm doing great. And Tom, are you doing great?
No, I'm fabulous. Completely.
You've one-upped me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's no other way. Well, Tom, what I like to do, I know we've got a lot of fun topics, and it is warm in your neck of the woods, and you want to talk about outdoor audio video.
Yes.
Before we go there, if you will, I always love my audience to get to know my guests and kind of where you came from and how did you land in this crazy business called custom integration. So if you don't mind, go in the way back machine and tell us where you come from and kind of what your careers look like leading up to now.
I definitely have a different career path than most. I have a BS in finance and information systems and MBA in finance, and I worked on Wall Street. I was a bond trader. I was on Wall Street for, a dozen years. And, I realized that I didn't like my job. And my in-laws were developers, and there was a project that we all invested in. We bought a hotel and renovated it. And one summer I went to him and said, I want to run the hotel. When the bonus season ends at the end of the year, I'm going to leave Wall Street and I want to run the hotel. And they said, yeah. So I did. I completely retooled from being a sharpshooter bond trader to a generalist running a hotel with 160 people. And that was a great experience. I loved every minute of it, but it's a family business. And so it depends on who your family members are. So I decided I had enough of the in-laws. And, I started a automation business with a friend of mine.
What was your exposure to automation? Like, how did you go from bonds to hotel management to custom integration?
Well, I always, been a little on the geeky side, a little on the computer, side, and always loved music. I mean, since 7th grade, when my dad gave me a clock radio and I heard, Golden Earrings, Radar Love, I said, oh my God, this is music. I love music. I got to have more of it in my life. And in college, I heard my first good stereo and I was like, oh, that's what it can sound like. And so, I mean, the emotional hook of music is so powerful. It's unbelievable. You watch a movie and you kill the picture and you just let the soundtrack go. You know what's happening. You know if a dinosaur's about to eat you or they're about to kill.
Right.
And music is just awesome. Yeah. And so an electrician lured me into the custom business. We spent a couple of years working together. And then I decided that I wanted to be a solo, event. And so we went our separate ways. And 13 years ago, we started BravoAV, and I haven't looked back. I've got a great team that supports me. We have a nice part of the country to work in, and we have great clients. So I couldn't ask for more.
How has, I know this is maybe a very broad question, but how has your business evolved over those 13 years? Like what did it look like in the beginning and what does it look like today?
Well, in the beginning, it was Tom Curnin and a tool belt in the very beginning.
Sure.
And, I can't find my tool belt now. So we've got 7 of us. And, my main focus is run the business and, sales and marketing. We've got a project manager, we've got a salesman, we've got, 4 techs, we've got an ops manager. Actually, we got an ops manager with the help of One Firefly to help with our recruiting. So that was very successful.
That's a secret service that only certain people in the marketplace know we help in that way.
Okay.
So that I'll dub that out of the recording.
There you go. Perfect.
What do typical projects look like for you, Tom, at BravoAV? What are you all resi? Are you all commercial? Do you do
We're all resi. We're all resi.
100% residential.
99. I'd say that new construction has not recovered from 2008. We have very, very little new construction. I saw as a mortgage-backed bond trader, so I saw the whole subprime meltdown coming, and I shifted my business away from new construction to retrofit or major renovation. So that's really what we do. They're just.
Are you really one of the few people in the United States that did not get burned to a crisp in 2008?
8, 9, 10, 11 were all very lean years, but I did not get burned to a crisp.
Wow. I wish I knew you better then. It would have saved me a couple of dollars, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that is when I started this business. So I'm saying personally, I got torched, but professionally, I only knew to run a business lean and mean because that was the only economy I had known as an entrepreneur. So I think in hindsight, it was positive.
Absolutely.
Tom, we have all sorts of people saying hello. So let me give them some shout outs here. We got Bobby Dodge.
Oh, Bobby.
He says, hey, Ron and Tom, great talk. Thank you, Bobby. And then we got Mr. JJ coming to us from Houston of Digital Delight fame.
All right.
And we got, let's see here. We got, I bet you know this guy, Rob Scuba.
Oh, yes.
He says, Rob. Tom has the most amazing portfolio of branded marketing material I have seen on the dealer side in the industry. Man, that is a pretty big statement.
Well, I have my One Firefly website, and then we have two 11 by 17 tabletop books that show all our work. And, we take a lot of pride in great photography. So the photographer I work with trained me so I can do the simple shots by myself. And I get a complicated shot, I just bring them out to the site and make sure we get the lighting right. There's no iPhone 7, photos on our website, where these are all taken with really high quality cameras.
If you are out there listening or watching live or listening, or if you're listening after the fact, listen to what Mr. Tom just said. He professionally photographs, I would call his own photography. Maybe that's amateur photography, but he uses a real camera, not his iPhone X or iPhone 7
Right.
or whatever you got.
Right.
And he hires a photographer. There is so much room for improvement for our industry to simply do what you're describing to enhance their marketing, to 100% enhance their marketing. Just photograph your job.
Everybody can tell a crappy picture from a good picture. And most of our rooms, especially our theaters, there's no ambient light. So, we set the camera up on a tripod, and then we do HDR. We take, start 3 under, 2 under, 1 under, perfectly exposed, 1 over, 2 over, 3 overexposed. And then I send that off in RAW format to my photographer, and he blends it together in an HDR photo that lets me see all the nooks and crannies. But it's also critical if you're taking a picture of a room that has a window. If you do an average exposure, that window is always going to be blown out and too white. So, we've got literally hundreds of photos of our work. And we only take, pictures of rooms that are really good. I mean, we do lots of work in houses that, let's just say they won't photograph that well. And we skip those.
You skip those. Put the beautiful ones up. Yeah, we built your website, Tom, but I haven't looked at your website in a while. So I'm actually seeing these photos for the first time.
Yeah. So that's an HDR photo. You can see clearly through the window to the trees behind. I was
going to say that is not you don't go grab your iPhone and
look at the detail
and have it look like that.
You've got the detail inside the cabinetry. You can see everything in there. It's not dark and shadowy. No, it's the way to go. Yeah.
No, that's very cool. And how long have you done that? How long have you it's a fairly this might sound silly, but it's a fairly advanced concept that you photograph all your projects.
Yeah, this is probably 8 years. 8 years. And then we also have the construction of a theater from beginning, from studs on. And that photo process took us, 10 months during the building phase. That was a long project. So
what I'm going to do for folks that want to know how to get here, how to get to this website, I'm going to put it up on the screen. So there we go. If you want to see the website, go to bravoav.com.
Yep. Go to the gallery. It's done by topic. So you'll see the home theaters will all be together. The outdoor will all be together.
Now, this is very advanced. So you knew to pull the purples out of the fabrics with a purple piece of content on the screen. This was post-rendered in, right? This image on the TV screen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your photographer did that?
Absolutely. Yeah. The TV is actually off when we take the shot, and then he cuts an image in. Yeah, because you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, that's gorgeous work.
Yeah. No.
Very smart.
Wick Smith is my photographer. He's a genius.
No, that's great. All right, I'm going to throw out. There's been a few more comments here that I'm going to dive into some of these other here. JJ says, nice gallery. Thanks, JJ.
Thank you, JJ.
And then we have a question here. How many hits a month is your website getting?
You got to ask Ron. He built the site. His guys track it. I don't know.
You know what? Should we do this live?
The answer is not enough. Since I got Ron, I don't have enough hits. Make it happen.
All right, I'm going to do this live.
I wouldn't do that. That's too dangerous.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll figure it out together here. Why not? live dangerous. We're live anyway, Tom. So if we screw up, it's already being cast out to society. So give me a second. Let me just.
Well, I know that through organic search, the terms that I care about, have done very well. I'm usually, 1, 2, or 3.
All right. So let's look at organic traffic. So organically, Tom, you're getting about 150 visits a month. It is going up. And then I'll just quickly look over here. Let's look in the last 30 days. And
Sure.
Let's say, what's all of your traffic? There it is. 565 sessions, JJ. So that's 500. Not that we're going to dive into this data in this interview. That's not the type of show this is. But a typical integrator gets between 200 and 1,000 visits a month on their website. So I'd say this as a traffic volume of 65 sessions. I'd say that's above average probably, or maybe right around average to above average. So hopefully that is.
I know it's a key component to our overall marketing plan. And, I work closely with Josh on your team, and I just tell them I want more. I call them at bats. I want more at bats.
Amen.
Get more people coming in.
From your mouth to God's ears. All right, let me figure out. I've got something up on the screen. Let me try to figure out how to get that off the screen. Let me go. I don't know. Where is he at? There's a comment up there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who is it from? It's from Chris. Let me see if I can find that. There we go. All right. Perfect. All right. And there's more people. We got Angel saying hello. We got JJ saying, I look daily at our stats. It's a challenge. JJ, you got to talk to One Firefly, man. All right. And then he says, Tom, you're looking good. So there you go.
Thank you.
Clearly the workouts are working. All right. So talk to me about outdoor audio and video. What's got you excited?
Well, let's just talk about the state of the industry.
State of the industry. Let's do that.
In one word.
I'm just going to have you run the interview, Tom.
Awesome.
That's it. You interview you. How's that?
It's awesome. The state of the industry is awesome. And the reason I say that is the products, the quality of the products and the breadth of the product offering in both the audio side and the video side is unmatched even, 3 or 4 years ago. We love on the audio side, we love Near, Architectural Sonora, Origin, JBL. They all have different, fits for what our customers want to do. And then on the TV side, the TVs are gorgeous. They're not nearly as fat and as ugly as they used to be. And the picture quality is fantastic. There's never been a better time to be trying to meet your clients' outdoor AV needs. We've got great tools. Just got to bring the dough.
No, you had mentioned this name to me just before we went live, Architectural Sonora, and I'm not going to lie. I was like, who? What? So I'm going to throw that on the screen here in a minute just to show the audience here what that is. But Rob Scuba says, bravo to you both for letting it all hang out. One Firefly transparency. Rob, I appreciate that, or stupidity, because that could have gone the wrong direction, because I really did not know what I was walking into with that. So, but thank you. I'll take the compliment.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to throw back on the screen Architectural Sonora. What?
Okay, so when I'm sure I have the same conversation that many of us have, right? When we're talking to the client, we got to balance, video quality, audio quality, aesthetics, budget, and time frame. And when you have a situation outdoors, typically it's around a pool with a lot of hardscape, and you cannot hide the speaker. Architectural Sonora makes these unbelievable works of art. That's my fave. So this week we're installing 4 of the Sphera 360s in white marble, Ron, around this pool.
Yeah,
And
that would be pretty cool looking. What do? You run the, I'm going to ask a stupid, like, I'm not an installer. So you like run pipe in the wire so the wire
yeah,
comes up right underneath
yeah,
the speaker?
yeah. Yes, it's conduit drilled right through the stone of the patio, ready for us to drop the speaker on top of it and wire into it. But it is an unbelievably good looking product.
They look heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy. They're heavy. You can get them. You can get them in a poured concrete of various colors, or you can get them in natural stones. And yeah, so the marble spheres are heavy. And I've told my guys, please don't drop them.
That would not be fun. They import these suckers from Italy.
Oh yeah. It's a relatively long lead time, like theater chairs, 8 to 12 weeks, but completely gorgeous.
I didn't know the name, but I'm thinking that I ran into this here in Florida. I went to the Florida Tech Summit a few months ago, and I know the rep, and he had these big honking slabs of stone out on display, and I do remember seeing these up close, and I was impressed.
Yeah, they're gorgeous.
And I think I even brought the piece of literature home and showed my wife. I was like, babe, this is pretty interesting.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that is cool. All right. So what else? So state of the industry. Is business good? Is business bad? Is the stock market weirdness or economy or tariff affecting you?
I think there is some uncertainty out there. And I think that is affecting our business. Our business is up slightly this year, 10%. I don't think people are feeling as good about themselves as you say the employment rate would let you think. The employment rate's at a historical low, but yet I see people, holding back on doing certain things. So, but let's go talk about design elements and what our goal is for outdoor sound, because I think we got to start with a goal and then how we get there. So
tell me,
we need clean, articulate sound with a uniform sound field. And I think that last part, that uniform sound field, is where most guys go wrong. So how is outdoor sound fundamentally different than indoor sound? The energy outside has no walls to hold it in. It dissipates very quickly. It's like cigar smoke. So you need a lot of speakers playing at a moderate volume to have a uniform sound field. And then you got to talk to your client, figure out what kind of music are you listening to? What's the volume of that music? How many subwoofers am I going to need to put into this? So I think that is, critical that we have that goal in mind so that we design correctly, so that when we look at the general topography, or we look at the areas that people are going to congregate, or we say, hey, where's our relatively high ambient noise level? Oh, hey, we've got a waterfall feature. Beautiful. But, that's a lot of ambient noise. We need a pair of speakers right by that so that we can have, uniform sound field around that water feature.
Do you want to mention any brands or particular products? I mean, we just obviously gave Outdoor Sonora some attention here. Are there any other people in your portfolio that you want to mention, or do you want to keep it broad?
I mean, I'm going to forget someone, and their rep is going to call me up when this is over. But
that's because thousands, maybe tens of thousands, are going to watch and listen to this.
Millions. But we love Near.
Okay.
They make a very robust speaker. They've got several form factors. We love, if you have high volume needs, JBL has some unbelievable products. And we've used them. Hell, we've used them in baseball fields, at the high school. And then Origin just this season came out with they're beautiful bollards, either square or rounds, and a number of finishes. With those would probably be, the three that I would think about. I'm sure I forgot someone, but yeah, those are great.
I'm curious. You also, when we started, you had mentioned some of the technologies with outdoor TVs, and you said that's advanced in the last several years. And I don't know. I haven't observed that advancement. I'm not close enough to it. Can you educate me and maybe some of our listeners? What's your observation of the technology advances that have happened in the
Sure. I mean, so there's two guys in the marketplace, Sierra and Sunbright. And I think Sierra is number one. And I think Sunbright's a close number two. Sierra has come out with, their direct sunlight TV, with a very high nit output, and they do a fabulous job. And then they got their kind of shady and then full shade, options where you can save money. I'm always a big fan, if I can, of locating that TV in a shady area, right? Every TV on the planet, regardless of make, will look better if I can reduce the ambient light around it. So if I can get it under a pergola or, something like that and get the direct sunlight off it, that's what I'm going to go for. But there are times when I can't. There are times when I'm mounting it on a pole out there at the edge of a patio, totally exposed. Then we use the ultrabright series. But, it's I mean, you got 4K beautiful TVs, completely weatherproof, right? I mean, you are making a mistake if you try to use an indoor TV outdoors. Even if you say, oh, well, I don't, if it gets destroyed in one season, I'm fine. I spent $800 on it. Yeah, but if it starts an electrical fire, you won't be as fine, right?
Do you see that we all, I'd say everyone in our industry gets called to job sites that have gone bad. Do you see people trying to install indoor TVs outdoors?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen, now they're not fully exposed. There's a little bit of an overhang, but wind blows, my friend. Water gets in the back, but it can't handle the temperatures. It can't handle the humidity, and it's not bright enough. Right, it doesn't have the nit level output that you would expect from an outdoor TV.
Talk to me about sources, and specifically outdoors. So what sort of sources, and if you're willing to talk about, what sort of control systems do you generally deploy or empower your customers with?
Sonos as a backbone is wonderful. If you tell me your first chair violin and you got 10,000 CDs and XYZ is really important to me, I'm like, okay, we got some other solutions, but most people aren't telling me that. So typically we're going to use Sonos Connects and audio control multi-channel EQ amps, right? So one of the I'm going to segue for just a second and talk about common mistakes. Okay, so people they undersize the amps, right? They're asking the amp to do too much. Get the right amp. Get a multi-channel amp. They run in small wire, right? The difference between, a 16 gauge and a 12 gauge is like 100% increase in resistance. And then we typically have long runs, 100 feet, 150 feet. So that's just compounding the error of using a small gauge wire. They don't put in enough speakers. They don't have a uniform sound field, and sometimes they make, poor equipment selections, and then they don't have enough zones. Right. So we love, a 16 channel audio control amp with, EQ. So we can tweak each zone. And then we just put a bunch of connects there and we give the guy an iPad, and that's great. Now, if he's got other things, he's got the outdoor TV, he's got lighting control, he's got security cameras and he wants to see all that, boom, roll him right into Savant. We're Savant dealers, and we think that they, make a great control system. But I don't think we should talk about the other control systems, because that'll just be a fight between who thinks who's better. We like Savant. Right. Boom.
No, I'm a big advocate. I just think it's smart. Pick a horse, ride the horse.
Yeah.
As a marketing agency, and people talk about, we always get the question of, well, what software are you programming my website in?
Right.
We do Joomla. Is it better or worse? There's debates to be had all the way around.
Yeah.
But that's what we're really good at. That's what we focus on, and we can make almost anything happen in that environment. The next company might say software A, B, C, or D. They're right too. If they're really good at that, then you know,
They can
it's
make it
about
work.
the customer experience.
Yeah. But
That's what matters.
you know, we've had very good luck with auto control amp. I know in some of our near jobs, near has an amp that works very well because it's set up. It can drive their speakers and their sub all at once and not starve the sub. So we like their amplifier. Yeah, but right size amplifier, enough zones, the correct speaker wire.
All right, two more questions for you, Tom, if you'll allow
Okay.
me, and then we'll believe it or not, we've already been live here for over 30 minutes.
Wow.
And I know you blink and time flies. Two quick questions.
Yeah.
You are in a buying group, and some people listening and watching may not be in buying groups.
Correct.
And I appreciate integrators trying to learn from each other and being in peer sharing groups, whether that's in a buying group or through CEDIA or through some other organization.
Absolutely.
What's your take on why someone should be in a buying group, regardless of what that group is?
I'm a ProSource member. I'm very happy. Bobby Dodge is my coverage. We have a annual event that I go to where they bring in speakers and they bring in resources to talk to us about what's going on in the industry. I find that immensely helpful to talk to the speakers, but just like CEDIA, I find it immensely helpful to talk to the guy in the classroom chair right next to me, because he's got ideas too. So I'm a lifelong learner. If you're not into learning, you need to exit this business immediately. Because you got to keep up. You got to read. So I just love, because, through ProSource, like CEDIA, I'll meet a guy in Arizona, like Wes Palmer, and I'll say, hey, here's what I'm doing. I need help with this. And he'll say, oh, yeah. Or I'll talk to my friend Caleb in Texas, and I'll say, hey, what are you doing to track, time? And I'll go, oh, I'm using X. Those are immensely helpful, almost. But what's also helpful is, yeah, by the way, I tried this software, and don't go near it because it's a disaster, right? That's just as valuable information. Don't use that. But, before we wrap up, I know I gave you a lot of things, but there's two things we have to talk about.
Tell me.
We have to talk about outdoor networks, and we have to talk about outdoor shades.
All right, talk to me.
You don't build a robust, high bandwidth outdoor network, close up your tent and go home, because none of the technology you're going to deploy is going to work effectively, right? So we don't do jobs anymore in anybody's home where we don't own the network, because we know that if we don't own the network and build out a really robust network, that our stuff will malfunction, but it's really that it wasn't getting the support.
What gear are you using to do that? And what sort of training are you and your staff attending or taking, or certifications to make sure that you're able to design those robust networks?
We're using Pack Edge. They have a training course that my guys do, but Ricky, my project manager and the most technical guy on my staff, is a CEDIA certified network specialist. Like, I'm a CEDIA certified designer. I don't need to know everything that he knows about networks. I just say, Ricky, make it work. So yeah, we're big fans of CEDIA education. Absolutely.
Got it. And you will not deploy a project that you're not owning the network.
I can't, because just the pain and agony, and if they're like, yeah, I'm going to stick with this network, and I clearly know it's not going to work, I'll just
That's
say,
when you know to walk away.
Walk away. Yes.
Okay. All right. Outdoor shades.
So we're super excited. We just went to Texas recently. We stopped by the Screen Innovations, went down for their training. They have some incredible outdoor shade solutions. I mean, they've got one. It's 21 feet wide, 16 feet high. It is the max size. They've got a number of fabrics.
Educate me on the application there, right? When do you use that?
Okay, Florida boy. Okay, Florida boy.
We have hurricanes down here, so we're very mindful of what we put out there in the wind zone.
Absolutely, but all this stuff retracts. So they recommend, over 18-mile-an-hour winds, roll it up. But they do have track systems, two different track options. But if you drop a shade when the sun is blasting you on your patio, you have drastically reduced the solar load, not only on the patio where you're sitting, but also on the room that's adjacent to the patio. And it's great, cost savings, and Arizona, Texas, Florida, you guys have outdoor living, 11 months a year. I mean, it's incredible. And so, yeah, we're totally excited. We just put up our latest, knowledge center piece on outdoor shades for our clients. We did a bunch of research, looked at a bunch of things. We're excited because you've got that, open on three sides patio, and it's got this roof structure. You drop these shades down, it's like you created your own little mini room. So let's just say you have that TV in there and you have that sun that's about to hit it. Just drop the shade. Boom. You've knocked the direct light off the TV. Your TV image looks better. No matter what TV it is, your TV image looks better. So we're just excited about being able to extend outdoor living times. Even here in New Jersey, we love our summers, right?
Yep.
The three, and so
3 months of it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But also spring and fall. I mean, honestly, fall is the best.
Yeah. Fall's beautiful.
And I can, when I do a fully enclosed space, you got no bugs in there, right? Yeah. You got no leaves blowing in. It really extends what you can do outdoor living. And let's face it, outdoor living, everything's happening. Kitchens and bars and bocce courts and horseshoe pits. I mean,
all right, last question for you, Tom.
Yes, sir.
We have some folks listening that might be newer in their entrepreneurial adventure.
Okay.
They might be newer at running their integration firm. And what would be just let's like straight from the gut, top of mind for you, 2 or 3 things that pieces of advice that you would offer them?
Happy. Become a CEDIA member. Attend CEDIA the whole time. Every minute that's open, there's the day before the trade show is open, there's classes. Take as many classes as you can. Learn from the instructor, learn from your classmates. Go to these little regional shows that maybe are just put on by a handful of vendors, but usually you can get some really good one-on-one time with the vendors. So down at ProSource, the last go round, I was talking with Jimmy at Surgex, and he mentioned something that I wasn't aware of and totally changed the way we want to do power conditioning. And then when a rep calls you up and says, I'd like to come by and talk to you about a product, try to say yes, because he might bring in something a little different that you hadn't thought about. Say, yeah, sure, I got 30 minutes. Come on in, let's talk. I mean, it's hard to fit that in your day because, you got 27 proposals you're supposed to get out the door.
I'll say there's every reason to say no, but your advice is to say yes, because you never know when that new piece of information might send you a different direction.
Say yes, I got 30 minutes, right? Let them know we don't have an hour. We don't have 2 hours. I got 30 minutes. Yeah. And by the way, what do you want to talk about? Because if it's clearly something you're not involved in, great. Then you can say no. But if it's something maybe you could be involved in, I'm a big fan of loading up your knowledge toolbox so that when you get to a job site or you get to a certain customer and you go, oh, there's a situation I use that product. I remember enough about it. I'll call the rep. I'll get back up to speed and use the product and make my customer happy. Yeah.
Love it. Tom, thank you for joining me on episode 76 of Automation Unplugged.
I hope to be back soon. Thanks, Ron.
Absolutely. You're going to be a repeat guest for sure.
I like it.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, folks, there you have it. Episode number 76 of Automation Unplugged. I'm going to throw up a couple of pieces of art here. Do not forget to join us on Instagram go over to Instagram.com/One Firefly LLC. And we have a pretty active channel there. That's a newer social network for us. We just joined. For my regular listeners, you'll know we just joined Instagram back in September at around CEDIA timeframe. So definitely be sure to check us out there. And then one more thing, want to show you that our very own Kelly Giles is going to be on the show. I believe this is next week. And Kelly is our leader of content. So if you want to learn more about Kelly and her take on marketing, and specifically marketing for integrators and kind of her background, we're going to get to know Kelly. And that should be a lot of fun. Well, I already know Kelly, but now you guys are going to get to meet Kelly. And I think you're going to enjoy that. And on that note, gang, enjoy the rest of your week. Remember, you get to make a decision every day on how your day is going to go. That is your decision. And so make it a great day, make it a great week. And until next time, I will see you later. Ciao.